Hello there, I'm Paul Leach, Head of DT at Budehaven, and as part of this options evening, virtual options evening, I'd like to talk to you about Design Technology GCSE, what it involves, hear a few words from a couple of our current students, and to give you opportunity to contact me for any more information. So by all means, please listen, have a look at the presentation, and I hope it's useful. So first of all then, let's have a think about why might a student in Year 9 be thinking about choosing DT GCSE? Well, if like me, you get very intrigued about how products work, that can be a good starting point. It might be that you're interested in working with tools and materials. Lots of our students are very practical and thrive on that kind of environment, and DT can encompass some of those skills along the way. It also includes creativity, working with ideas, shaping the future, coming up with new concepts. It's a really important part of our subject, just as it would be in drama or music or art. It's also, of course, about the whole future of our world around us. Everything we do involves design. Everything we use involves design, from the smallest clip to the largest piece of product design, to the cars we drive in, the clothes we wear, the houses we live in. Design is absolutely everywhere, and this is where it all begins in terms of formal qualifications. Also, the course needs to involve theory work. It cannot be all practical because, of course, students need to know their facts. They need to know about their subject in order to pass, in order to actually progress and potentially have a really strong career in this area as well. So let's have a look at the course and an overview of what goes on. First of all, it's a 1 to 9 grade, in the same way as many other GCSEs, most GCSEs of course, a 1 being the lowest point on the scale, a 9 being absolutely phenomenal, which of course replaced the A star to G grades a few years ago now. Half of the GCSE comes from a written knowledge-based exam, which is a 2-hour paper. We'll talk more about that in a minute, but it comprises lots of theory topics, a vast array of different areas that could come up in that paper. The best thing about DT GCSE is it's not entirely graded on an exam performance. 50% of the grade also comes from the NEA. Now the NEA is the modern name for coursework. So basically this is a piece of work, a design project that our students carry out through the end of Year 10 through a lot of Year 11. They submit this piece of work, a substantial design and make task, and this will give them up to half of their GCSE. So for students that like to plod and don't want to put everything based around a session sitting in the hall answering questions on a paper, this course is great for that. So the core technical knowledge needs to be learnt by everyone and able to pass the exam. It's very important that students appreciate that and carry out the work that's required. Students can focus on an area they feel they're strongest at as they go further through the course and do their major projects. That could be graphics-based approach, resistant materials, electronics, textiles even. There's loads of potential there for students to look at where their strengths lie. So what would the course involve if we break it down a little bit more into time scale? Well, if our students were to choose this in Year 9 now, from next September, all being well, we would be looking at covering lots of theory topics. This would be bookwork. Lots of this will be done in exercise books where we teach in a fairly traditional manner, but students do some research-based tasks and various other approaches that we use using modern methods, but students need to learn those facts. So their exercise book is almost becoming a revision guide of their own over time. We do one minor design and make task, which most recently has been the design, if I pointed it with my mouse, of an educational toy, which is to teach a young child between about the ages of 2 and 4 about either numbers, letters, colours or shapes. And there are some examples that we made last year with our Year 10s. So we do some manufacturing there in the workshop, producing those designs. The theory of the course, well, here's a list of a few things we might learn about new technologies, because of course if we are designing for the future, we need to understand what the future may be and embrace it. We also look at things that go slightly wider, that may cross over into humanities or science, such as energy generation and storage. Materials, of course, really important, because if we're designing, we need to know what materials we need to use and why, and things like environmental impacts of those materials. Systems that may be involved in production. Mechanisms are a part of it because, of course, they form the basis of many products that we use in our everyday lives. Manufacturing processes in many shapes and forms, how that happens in the real world. Applying maths, 10% of the exam at GCSE is a maths focus, where students may have to calculate materials usage or area or volume or something like that. So maths is very, very important. Production methods, again, how things might be done in industry on different scales, in different situations. Analysing products, sorry I put my teeth in, analysing products that we already own and use, so how are they constructed, how are they manufactured, what design features do they contain. Iterative design, which is very much a focus now with the new GCSE, where instead of a linear design process where we design it, develop it, plan it, make it, we now, oops, sorry, my computer's going funny, we now cover a cycle, like the diagram here, where it's continuous. We develop a design, we model it, we test it, and then we actually go back and we refine the design and make it better. And that's a really important push to have with the GCSE now, because that's how products are designed in reality, in industry, and we need to be doing it in the same way. So the exam covers any of those aspects, of course, broken down into many, many subcategories, and that's a 2-hour written paper. So if we fast forward to year 11, we would be then designing our product, which we've already started at the end of year 10, from the 1st of June of year 10, and it's around a context the exam board set. They set 2 or 3 contexts, and we then guide students towards what we think will work best for them. The process is iterative, as I've said. It's a continuous cycle to make it more realistic and hopefully give a better outcome as well. And students, of course, will not only model and test aspects of their design, but they will make a final prototype as well. At the moment that is slightly compromised due to COVID, but we are hoping that by the time we reach our current Year 9 cohort going through the GCSE, that we are reverting back to the familiar GCSE format that we use. So half the GCSE grade comes from doing this task. So it's substantial and it's very, very enjoyable. Year 11 is very much getting teeth into a project and seeing what can be produced. There are some examples on the slide of some design sheets. 2 of the ones on the right are by a current Year 11 student, and the one to the left is from slightly further back, but all from Budehaven students. So here are a few photographs of some examples that our students have made in recent years. A lighting project there by a student last year, a lovely piece of design using LED lighting. Quite a simple product, but very aesthetically pleasing, very attractive to look at, and gave off a lovely light. I love lighting projects. I think the potential is vast with them. That's also a lighting project which was in its sort of development form, where some 3D printing had been carried out and some wood turning work there on some hardwood. And that again was a form of lighting that had a control circuit in, and that was just at the stage where it was being put together. Traditional piece of furniture there, a table being made. There is a move slightly more away from that now. We want the GCSE to be innovative. We want to be moving design forward, looking at the future. And a table is not an absolute no-no, but we need to be looking at products that actually do take things forward rather than just repeating what already exists. And this was a pet rodent kind of fun house, if you like, a little activity centre for a pet rodent, which was a rather nice twist on a different type of project being approached. So how do we assess our students as we go through this GCSE? Well, in year 10, we'd be looking at giving ongoing feedback of the written theory work in books. That might be verbal, it might be written feedback. There's various forms that we can use. We may do some of that online as well. We also assess project work as we go along. So if a student finishes a section of the project, such as research, we will assess that and give the student an idea of how they're getting on, and same with initial ideas, development, production planning, etc. We also believe it's important to test and quiz our students at regular intervals, and then we can gauge their knowledge and we can tackle areas that we feel they're a little bit weaker on as well. A mock exam, of course, is vital, and we do a mock exam in year 10 in the summer, and then probably 2 mock exams in year 11 as well, so that by the time students get to the summer of year 11, they're quite familiar with that format and it's not too daunting for them. In year 11, the NEA task, the coursework, is assessed by us. If more than one teacher is involved, we moderate the work together as well, and we use Google Drive for the work being produced by students and being submitted. That means everything is safe, we can feed back on there, parents can monitor what's going on, we can see what's going on, and more importantly we can sort of chase things up if things aren't happening as we need them to. And then, of course, as I've said, a couple of mock exams in year 11. The final written 2-hour exam would take place in the June of year 11. That's externally assessed, so we, of course, don't have any knowledge of that paper until the day it's attempted by the students, and then that is taken away and marked by AQA by the exam board. So what styles of learning might we use during this GCSE? Well, a range of styles really. There's no fixed style. We use whatever works best for the task we're doing. It might be teacher-led. When we're doing a theory topic, it might be discussion, it might be using visual resources, questioning students, seeing what they understand and getting them to record information. Getting those facts down in books is of course very important, because students are not going to remember facts unless they're recording them on paper to build up their subject knowledge and allow them to revisit those facts and get really, really confident and clear with what they know. We do use computers at regular intervals. We have good facilities within school, and that allows us to gather research. It allows us to develop designs using CAD. It allows us to use CAM for manufacturing. So computers are a really important tool. Of course, they are in the design world, full stop. We do believe in students being independent. We don't want to spoon-feed them everything, because designing is about thinking independently and developing those skills. So we do want to get students to be independent, but of course that's under a framework where we're gauging what they're doing and monitoring them and checking as they go along. Most importantly for me, but not the be-all and end-all, is being practical. Using workshop facilities, making products, getting confident with tools and materials, and really enjoying doing that as well, because being practical is a great skill to have. So why choose GCSE DT? Well, if you're looking at this, you might already have a few thoughts, but here are my thoughts about it. I think it's a great combination of creativity and academic knowledge. It's not just a practical GCSE, you have to get to know your facts. There's maths in there, there's production methods, there's all sorts in there. So it is a real kind of test of what you know against what you can do physically as well. You get time in a practical workshop environment. Lots of our students choose DT because they're quite bright, but they also want to be in a workshop environment some of the time. They want time to roll their sleeves up and grab hold of some tools and equipment, use some machines, and DT gives that potential to do that. Those skills can last for life. Whether or not a student progresses to do DT further down the line, practical skills are never going to be wasted. When students own their own homes, when they want to do jobs around the home and garden, it just gives them the capability of doing that. That can never be a bad idea. There are lots of creative careers that can be followed, further and higher education opportunities. We'll talk more about that in a minute. But the UK design industry is very strong indeed and has been for many years. That could be that journey into the future. It all starts from somewhere, and some of the top designers in the world have come through secondary schools in the UK, just like our youngsters are doing right now, and started that journey and been extremely influential as they've moved through into later life. It's a huge industry. There are the figures. So more than £100 billion a year generated through UK creative industries. That's just within this country. And more than 2 million people are employed, so it's no small fry. It's not going to go anywhere, it's here to stay, and whatever life throws at us, which it hasn't done an awful lot of recently, there's always going to be a massive need for a design and creative industry. So what do our students think? Well, I've asked a couple of our students here, Mark and Lottie. I'm going to just put the microphone to the speaker now, and hopefully you'll be able to hear what they've got to say.
So I chose DT because I wanted to experience what it's like in the real world when actually making products and designing it. When I'm older, I want to be something around design tech and actually making sure that my work is impacting people in real life. And on the course, it's actually a good balance between practical and doing theory. This allows you to experience what it would be like in an actual firm doing design work, and that's why I chose it really.
And I wanted to do DT because when I'm older I want to study in architecture, and I thought that DT would give me a good choice of what it's really like using computer design and also on the practical side of work. And not very many girls do DT, and there's not really a reason why they shouldn't, but I've really enjoyed doing it so far, and we're doing our GCSEs soon. So far we're doing our coursework, and it's really hands-on also, and you also get a good idea of how to use the computer and how to base the product, what kind of research you need to do, and what kind of things you need to involve, and I would choose it.
The course involves coursework and a written exam at the end. It's good that the coursework's there because it means that less pressure is on the exam.
Okay, my internet connection.
If you're more
My internet connection is very slow. We'll try again.
a time learner and actually needing time to go over and perfect your work, then that can actually be beneficial for you. Obviously, making is in the coursework part of it, and it's actually really necessary to think more about the theory side of it and actually how things work and why it's done like that, rather than just making a product and saying it looks all right. And that's one thing about DT that I really like, that it's not just about making but also about why we make things and how it's going to impact others.
Okay, so sorry about the little glitch there. That's the joys of living in the sticks and having poor internet. So where could DT lead after GCSE? Well, of course, that's really important because our youngsters are on their journey of education and potentially there could be quite a bit of that journey left for them. So we do offer a really good, strong A-level in product design, which is a natural progression from the GCSE. We have a group studying that in Year 12 this year. We had some brilliant students in the past and some very strong results. It's a very enjoyable course. And it can allow students to then go on to higher education level further down the line. We've had a lot of students go on to very successful careers in design-based areas. Here are some examples, so I don't need to read them all out to you. You can see them there, but the obvious ones, product design, graphic design, but some slightly less obvious ones, advertising, landscape design. There are so many possibilities there, and lots of our universities in the UK offer some superb courses. We've had students go on to do top-level engineering courses at Loughborough, which is renowned for being probably the epicentre of engineering in higher education in the UK. And they've gone on to get a very high first-class honours degrees. So we're very proud of our track record and we really hope we can continue that way. So that's almost it from me. Of course, I can't possibly in 15 minutes or so tell you everything you need to know about this GCSE, but I'm always available for more information. There's my name again, and there's my email. Please, 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 parents, students, drop me a line. If you want to know anything about the course, by all means drop me an email. You can drop me a phone number, I can give you a ring. More than happy to do that. It's strange times we're in, but it's really important that students are not deprived of information that they need to have, and we will do everything we can to get that information to you. And there's also the website link there for the AQA area of the website for DT, the GCSE, which contains the exam specification and any other facts that may need to be found out. So by all means have a look at that, it's out there for the taking. So without further ado, thank you very much for listening. Drop me a line if you need to know any more. Stay safe, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you all soon. Thank you very much.